Alright, Ibomuluze Monzo Ekenekwamu Nkonye Chikwari Yazelo Ototo Mani Homabudoma, depending on your time zone and your location. Concerning Ekpa Mazi Simon Ekpa yesterday, since Ekpa, a lot of things have been happening on the social media space. In fact, internet is on fire. You see on Facebook, by Twitter, you see on Twitter, by TikTok, but in Kebezi Biafrans are happy with the news of the way Mazi Simon Ekpa went upper hand concerning this case. And again, a lot of Biafrans have been reacting towards this news they went yesterday. That's not the way the case is Agama Simon Ekpa and in way an advantage over those who came against him. So on the DOS, on the other hand, not on their own now bash. They can't camp for now. So I'll bring him to back into for now. I'm the reaction of one night who can Simon Ekpa before we put this video. And again, the updates from Greenlight Africa. In as much that some people are like the update to because obone like the video, bro must nigga watch here or bro must nigga comment. Yes, I'm a me with the video this guy. And with some things more on my own jot down. As he's talking, I didn't take video 100% to be truth. And then me have clear now several video this guy with her. Just that his analysis may look as if no one on Finland. How are you sure that this guy on Finland name with the updates or name with the informant name information? So I'm going to watch the video, drop your opinion again in the comment section because he analyzed the outcome of the court hearing yesterday. So I need more info or need more details or need more things that is happening around this trial. Stick here to this video from beginning to the end. Mind you, the information from this guy's video book Greenlight abro 100% can be. So watch out the video calmly. You drop your opinion again in the comment section and do well to share. More meanwhile, watch the video this one night workable. For the comments before I watch this other video. You watch the Bambo to start the video. Can always right for the updates. Enjoy the rest of the videos. I'll be right back.
Yes, wonderful people of Biafrans. How you guys doing? I love to see my audience very happy and very good indeed. I'm telling you. Yes, just a quick one. Yeah. Today, Mazi Simon Ekpa dealt with the Nigerian terrorist government in court once again. And you know, one thing that the Bible said is that he who must come to equity must come with a clean hand or with a clean heart, whichever one. And then he who accuses definitely must come to defend. Today, you see, Nigerian government is just stupid people. They are just mad people. They don't have sense. And why I say Tinubu's government will be the worst government on this planet Earth is because they are the first to attack, but they don't know how to defend. So now what they did is they used Christopher Musa, the one that calls himself the chief security officer of the military, the CDS, you know. They use him to propagate lies against Simon Ekpa, saying to Finland, if Simon Ekpa was in Nigeria and defending, doing the same thing to Finland, are they going to take it? So all these things that they have said, they could not come to Finland to defend themselves. They are sending our own brothers. These three fools where you see for here, hungry idiots, where you see DOS members that sold out Mazi now. They can look at them, how shameless and how shameful they are. And then they came to court to start asking questions. The question that they didn't answer. Are you a terrorist? And then Mazi Simon Ekpa said, no, I am not a terrorist. I am defending my people. And they have to bring 3 Igbos. Not Yorubas, or 3 Igbos in conjunction with the Minister of Interior. Minister of Interior from Nigeria. Minister of Interior from Nigeria. And I asked the question, where is the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Bianca Olo? Where is she? Where is the Enugu State Governor that said he has a lot of evidence against Simon Ekpa? Where is, what is it called? The governor of, the delegitimized governor of Anambra State today, Chukwu Masoludo, that said Simon Ekpa is having gangs of criminals. Where are you people? You can't come to Finland easy. And you see, these are the problems we're having. They use our own brothers to get us. They fight us with our own brothers. Now, Chukwu Masoludo, you are not in Finland. Minister of Foreign Affairs, you're not in Finland. General Christopher Musa, as stupid as you are, you're not in Finland. But you can stay in Nigeria in your comfort zone to lie to the world that Ekpa is a terrorist. Ekpa is terrorizing the southeast because of the mineral resources that you people are milking from the southeast. I thought you would have come to challenge Ekpa. You match strength for strength, wisdom to wisdom. We didn't see you people. You are now paying Minister of Interior that has no business with this case to come and pay these 3 fools that are from DOS. You can see their names there. to come and, lie against our prime minister. And the prime minister was destroying them, was hitting them on the head. Because the man is very intelligent, a very intelligent man indeed. So, Biafrans, please, don't be anxious for nothing, because we are dealing with these people. We are dealing with them. I ain't to God. I thought you people had swag. Biafrans, let me tell you people one thing and why they cannot win this case. The primary objective of Tinubu, this drug lord, the criminal, was to bring back Simon Ekpa to Nigeria so that he can come and face persecution. That was their plan. Their plan was never that Simon Ekpa would drag them to the courts. That was never their plan, because they don't have any evidence to do anything here. They have no evidence against Simon. They know that for sure. That is why they did what they did. That is why they gave Ogenkere money. That is why the Enugu state governor can pay Ogenkere money to go into the former brigade and destroy it and sell Simon to the Finnish authority. You see what Finland has done. Yeah? It is only our prime minister that can explain that to us. But for now, the case is still going in our favor. And Nigeria, you see, anybody that has not come across Nigerian governments would not know what I'm saying today. They have no case, they have nothing, they cannot produce anything. And I still stand on my word. I want Christopher Musa to come to Finland. I want Sheyi Tinubu, the son of the drug lord, to come to Finland. Bianco Low, you are the foreign minister. You are supposed to be in court, not in Nigeria, because you submitted the petitions against Simon. And governor of Enugu State, the delegitimized governor of Enugu State, Peter Mba, you said you have a lot of evidences against Simon Ekpa. So why are you people not coming up? Why not coming forth? And governor of Anambra State, I want you people to gather those. This is the time we need those evidence in Finland. People without shame, shameless fools, old idiots. Don't worry. Everything you are doing will still catch up with you. You know your time is over. You people know that you are shaking already. You are quaking already. Your times are up. So please, Biafrans, have a strong heart. I love you guys, man. Peace be unto you. Thank you. See you in my next video.
Today's court hearing absolutely is one of the most exciting and one of the most intriguing court hearing we've ever seen in a very, very long time. And in this video, we shall be analyzing and showcasing every single thing that happened in the courtroom today. But before we showcase every single thing that happened today, we have to quickly do a disclaimer. In this video, we are going to definitely use a lot of pictures and a lot of videos to illustratively showcase or buttress our point. Mind you, these are not the official pictures or videos coming out from the courtroom. These pictures and videos are for illustrative purposes only. With all of that being said, let's kickstart this video in essence. So back in the courtroom, the prosecuting lawyer began by making a speech. He asked the judge for a permission to bring in a witness, and this time around, this witness is coming with a video recording that clearly captured the activities of Mr. Simon. Yes, the prosecuting lawyer claimed that this video coverage is from a CCTV camera installed in Simon's office. So let's go back to the courtroom and see how every single thing played out. So the moment the prosecuting lawyer informed the judge about his video evidence that will be presented by a witness, the judge asked, "You've stated you possess video evidence. Before we proceed, the court needs assurance of its authenticity. Can you provide details regarding the provenance of this video? How was it obtained? And what measures were taken to ensure it hasn't been altered or tampered with?" The prosecuting lawyer replied by saying, "Your Honor, the video was obtained through a secure digital transfer from a reliable source within Simon's office. We have taken extensive measures to ensure its authenticity." The judge asked, "Please elaborate on these measures." The lawyer responded by saying, "We have submitted the video to certified forensic video analyst. They have confirmed that the video is unaltered and that its metadata aligns with the stated time and location of the event it depicts. We also have chain of custody documentation which will be presented detailing every step of the video's handling from its original to its presentation in court." And the judge responded by asking, "And what about the source? Can you guarantee the integrity of the source?" The prosecuting lawyer responded by saying, "Your Honor, the source is a witness with no prior criminal record and a history of cooperating with law enforcement. We will be calling the source to testify, and their testimony will further validate the video's authenticity." The judge responded by saying, "Very well. The court acknowledges the steps you've taken. However, The court will reserve final judgment on the video's admissibility until after it has been viewed and the source has testified. And the judge informed the lawyer to proceed with his witness and also to play the video evidence he claimed to have gotten from Simon's office through the CCTV camera. Yes. At this point, the prosecuting lawyer went to the stage and he played a particular video which was clearly visible in the courtroom session. From what we can see, this video happens to be, like he said, it's a CCTV coverage where Simon is seen wearing a black suit and a red tie, walking from one corner of his room to another. Yeah, so Simon was on a phone call in his office space. He was dressed in a black suit and he was walking from one corner of the room to another. In that said CCTV coverage, Simon was seen having a phone conversation with an individual, asking him to carry out a precise act and take out his orders. In the video being played in court, it was heard that Simon informed an individual who resides in Nigeria to chase out government officials and any individual linked to the Nigerian government out of the southeastern region of Nigeria. And that said video coverage. Simon was heard stating categorically that chase them, and if these guys refuse to leave, feel free to use force if needed. Feel free to use coercive measures. And Simon did not expatiate on what he meant by coercive or forceful means of chasing out these individuals from the southeastern region of Nigeria. And this is a summary of the whole phone conversation. The conversation was quite lengthy and a lot of implicating stuffs were said. After the video evidence was played, the prosecuting lawyers continued by saying, "Members of the jury, we have just witnessed compelling evidence. The CCTV footage you have just seen speaks volume. It doesn't require interpretation. It presents the truth in stark, undeniable clarity. We have seen with our own eyes the defendant, Simon, directly involved in actions that led to the violence in Nigeria. The video doesn't lie. It shows Simon's actions, his movements, his interactions, and his clear intent. There is no room for conjecture or doubt. The precise timing, the clear identification of the defendant, and the irrefutable evidence of his participation in the event paint a damning picture. The prosecution has presented numerous witnesses and other forms of evidence, but this CCTV footage provides the visual confirmation, the irrefutable proof that seals the case. It is a visual testament to the defendant's guilt. We have shown you the crime. We have shown you the perpetrator. The evidence is overwhelming. The video is clear." And he continued by saying the defendant, as you can clearly see, is guilty. And these are the exact words coming from the prosecuting lawyer. At this point in time, the prosecuting lawyer continued by asking the judge to grant him his permission to call upon the witness, the individual who did a forensic examination of that CCTV camera, to take the stand and testify, and also to cross-examine him. The judge granted his request, and the prosecuting lawyer called upon the witness, and they had these conversations and cross-examination. The lawyer asked, "Good morning, witness. For the record, could you please state your name and profession?" The witness responded by saying, "Good morning," and he stated his name, "and I am a certified forensic video analyst." The prosecuting lawyer continued by saying, "Thank you. Now, my witness, you were tasked with analyzing the CCTV footage we just viewed, correct?" The witness responded by saying, "That is correct." The prosecuting lawyer continued by saying, "And your analysis was focused on determining the authenticity and integrity of that footage." The witness responded by saying, "Yes, that was my primary focus." The prosecuting lawyer continued by saying, "Can you briefly explain the methods you use in analyzing this footage?" The witness responded, "Certainly, I employed several techniques, including examining the video's metadata, the timestamps, dates, the location data. To verify their accuracy, I also looked for any signs of tampering, such as edits or insertions or deletions. I analyzed the compression artifacts, any visual pixelation, and any inconsistencies that might suggest manipulation." The lawyer continued by saying, "And what were your findings?" The witness answered, "My findings were that the video appeared to be authentic and unaltered. The metadata was consistent with the stated time and location. There were no indications of any editing or manipulation." The prosecuting lawyer said, "You mentioned examining the metadata. Can you elaborate on the importance of time stamps?" The witness responded, "The timestamps are crucial. They provide a chronological framework for the events depicted in the video. They allow us to correlate the video's actions with other evidence, such as witness testimony or other records." The prosecuting lawyer continued by saying, "And did you find any discrepancies with those stamps?" Witness responded, "No, I did not. The timestamps were accurate and consistent throughout the footage." The lawyer continued by asking, "You also mentioned analyzing the video for signs of tampering. What specific techniques did you use to identify potential edits or manipulations?" The witness answered, "I utilized specialized software designed to detect video editing. I looked for abrupt jumps in the video, inconsistency in lighting and shadows, and any anomalies in the movement of objects or people. I also examined the compression patterns for any irregularities." The prosecuting lawyer asked, "And did you find any evidence of tampering or manipulation in the footage?" The witness said, "No, I did not. There were no indications of any edits, insertions, or deletions. The compression patterns were consistent throughout the video. There were no unusual artifacts." And the prosecuting lawyer continued by saying, "So based on your analysis, Mr. Witness, would you say that the CCTV footage accurately depicts events as they occurred?" And the witness responded by saying, "Yes, based on my analysis, I believe the footage accurately depicts the events as they occurred. There is no evidence to suggest otherwise." And the prosecuting lawyer continued by saying, "Thank you, my witness. No further questions." So like I said, this is a cross-examination between the prosecuting lawyer and a forensic analyst, the individual, the officer who critically analyzed the CCTV footage taken from Simon's office, where he was seen visibly having a conversation with an individual in Nigeria, asking him to chase out all government officials and officers from the southeastern region of the country, and also to use force if need be. Yes, this is a very clear conversation. Back to the courtroom session, the prosecuting lawyer asked the judge to grant him the permission to bring in his second witness. And this time, this witness is an individual or a worker from a particular telecommunication domicile in that country. This is the same SIM card or network Simon used in making that said conversation or phone call. So the prosecuting lawyer has called in an individual from Simon's network provider to give testimonies on the fact that this telecommunication officer did some examination on Simon's call history to match it to the date and time that CCTV footage was captured. So back in the courtroom, the presiding judge gave the prosecuting lawyer the permission to call upon his second witness, who, like I said, is an officer from a telecommunication service in that country. And here's the cross-examination and the conversation between this witness and this lawyer. So the prosecuting lawyer started the conversation by saying, "Good morning, my second witness. Could you please state your name and your profession for the record?" The witness answered, "Good morning," and he stated his name. "I'm a senior analyst at a particular telecommunication in that country," which the name was blurred out. The prosecuting lawyer said, "Thank you. And in your role at this particular telecommunication service, what are your primary responsibilities?" The witness answered, "I'm responsible for analyzing call logs, verifying the accuracy of timestamps, and providing expert testimony on telecommunications data." The prosecuting lawyer continued by saying, "You were asked to analyze the call logs of the defendant, known as Simon, in relation to the CCTV footage we've seen. Is that correct?" The witness said, "That is correct." The lawyer continued by saying, "You were tasked to compare the timestamps on the CCTV footage with the timestamps associated with Simon's phone calls. Is that right?" The witness said, "Yes, that's correct." The prosecuting lawyer continued by saying, "Could you explain the process you used to verify the accuracy of these timestamps?" Witness said, "Certainly. First, I obtained the call logs from the telecommunication company I work for, ensuring they were properly authenticated and secured. Then I compared the timestamps recorded in the call logs, the time a call was initiated, the time it ended, with the timestamps displayed on the CCTV footage. I also cross-referenced this data with the location data associated with Simon's phone at the time." The prosecuting lawyer continued by saying, "And what were your findings regarding the timestamps?" The witness said, My findings were that the timestamps on the CCTV footage and the timestamps associated with Simon's phone calls were consistent. The calls placed by Mr. Simon during the time period of the CCTV footage corresponded with the activities shown in the video. The prosecuting lawyer said, "Can you be more specific? Did the timestamps align precisely?" The witness said, "Yes, the timestamps aligned precisely. The calls placed by Mr. Simon coincided with the time frame of the events depicted in the CCTV footage." The prosecuting lawyer said, "And how did you ensure the accuracy of the timestamps on the call logs?" The witness said, "The company I work for utilizes a highly accurate and synchronized timekeeping system. All call records are automatically time-stamped using the system, which is regularly calibrated and maintained to ensure accuracy. We also have redundant systems which are in place to verify the timestamps." The lawyer continued by saying, "Did you find any evidence of discrepancies or inconsistency between the call log timestamps and the CCTV footage timestamps?" The witness said, "No, I did not. There were no discrepancies or inconsistencies. The timestamps were consistent throughout the analysis." The prosecuting lawyer asked, "So, based on your analysis, can you confidently state that the call log supports the time frame of the events shown in the CCTV footage?" The witness replied by saying, "Yes, I can confidently state that the call log supports the time frame of the event shown in the CCTV footage. The timestamps are consistent and the call activities aligns with the actions depicted in the video." And the prosecuting lawyer said, "Thank you, my witness. No further questions." At this point, Mr. Simon made a speech. He asked the judge to please grant him the right to speak in the courtroom session because he believes that these guys are just coming up with different evidence and different CCTV footages to claim that he's guilty when in a real sense he's not. So the presiding judge said, "Please feel free to speak." And Simon started by saying, "Your Honor, I stand before you today to respectfully request the opportunity to cross-examine the witness who has just testified. The testimony presented, while seemingly straightforward, touches upon critical aspects of the evidence against me. I believe that a thorough cross-examination is essential to ensure a complete and accurate understanding of the facts. It is through this process that I can challenge the witness's interpretations, clarify any ambiguities, and potentially reveal inconsistencies or alternative explanations. The right to cross-examine is a fundamental principle of justice, and it is crucial for my defense. It is my chance to probe the witness analysis, question the methodology, and highlight any potential biases or limitations in their findings. I'm confident that a careful and a focused cross-examination will shed further light on the evidence and provide a more complete picture for the court. It will allow me to address the specific points raised by the witness and to ensure that all relevant information is considered. Therefore, Your Honor, I respectfully request the opportunity to cross-examine this witness. I believe it is a necessary step to ensure a fair and just outcome in this case. Thank you, Your Honor." And the presiding judge gave Simon his permission to cross-examine the witness, the individual coming from a telecommunication service in that country. So here is a conversation between Simon and this witness. Simon began by saying, "Good morning. Thank you for being here." The witness said, "Good morning." Simon asked, "You mentioned your company uses a highly accurate timekeeping system. Can you tell me what is the margin of error for this system? Is it precise to the second, or are there any potential delays or discrepancies?" The witness answered, "The system is very precise, but there is always a small margin of error. We aim for accuracy within milliseconds." Simon said, "Milliseconds? So potentially there could be a slight variation in timestamps, right?" The witness answered, "Yes, a very slight variation is possible, but is negligible." Simon responded by saying, "Negligible, but not impossible. And this system, is it foolproof? Has it ever experienced any outages, glitches, or periods of unsynchronization?" The witness answered, "As with any system, there have been a rare instances of minor disruptions, but we have backup systems in place to mitigate any impact on the accuracy of the timestamps." Simon continued by saying, "Backup systems. But those backups, do they always capture the exact same time as the primary system? The witness answered, they are synchronized to the same time source. Simon said, synchronized, but not necessarily identical. Now, regarding the call logs, you compare them to the CCTV footage. Did you personally observe the CCTV footage, or did you rely on summary or description of the event? The witness answered, I view the footage myself. Simon said, and when you viewed the footage, did you have any prior knowledge of the case, or were you given any context before your analysis? The witness responded by saying, I was provided with the context of the case. Simon said, so you knew what you were looking for. Did that pre-existing knowledge influence your interpretation of the timestamps? Did it potentially lead you to focus on certain calls and dismiss others? The witness answered, I was instructed to be objective and to focus solely on timestamps. Simon asked, but isn't it human nature to interpret information in a way that confirms what we already believe? Did you consider the possibility of alternative explanations for the timing of those calls? The witness answered, my analysis was based on the data, not on assumptions. Simon said, let's talk about the location data. You mentioned cross-referencing the call logs with location data. How precise is that location data? Does it pinpoint a specific address, or is it more of a general area? The witness answered by saying, it provides a general area based on the cell towers the phone was connected to. Simon responded by asking, a general area. So the phone could have been anywhere within that area, not necessarily at the precise location shown on the CCTV footage, correct? The witness said, that's correct. Simon continued by saying, finally, you, this testifier, did you consider the possibility that someone else could have been using my phone at the time those calls were made? The witness answered, I analyzed the data as provided. Simon responded by saying, but you did not rule out the possibility, did you? You can't definitively say that I was the one making those calls, can you? This witness did not respond or reply to Simon's question. Simon continued by saying, thank you, witness, no further questions, Your Honor. As you can clearly see, this is a clear confirmation or cross-examination between this witness and Simon knew what to ask. This guy has been briefed to be able to react to any possibility in the courtroom, and that is why he came up with accurate and distinctive questions to ask this testifier. This is a nice showing coming from Simon. After this cross-examination, the judge was forced to make a statement. Yes, the judge, after listening to Simon's case and the witness statement, the judge had to step in and say something because Simon has pulled up a magnificent feat in the courtroom session. But before we look at what the judge had to say, Simon asked the presiding judge to please let me speak one more time before you come in and conclude or finalize into this court session. And the judge said, okay, feel free to speak and please make it very, very brief. And now let's pay attention to what Simon had to say. Simon started by saying, Your Honor, members of the jury, I stand before you today to address the testimony we've heard from the witness from the telecommunication service or company. While I respect the witness's profession and company's efforts to provide accurate data, I must express my concerns about the reliability of their conclusions in their specific case. We've heard about precise timestamps and synchronized systems. But let's be realistic. No system is perfect. The witness acknowledged a margin of error. However, a small millisecond, even fractions of a second, can be critical in a case like this. The witness also admitted to the possibility of disruptions and reliance on backup systems. These are not insignificant details. They are potential vulnerabilities, loopholes that could introduce errors into the timeline. We are talking about a general area, not a pinpoint location. The call logs, while seemingly aligned with the CCTV footage, do not definitively place me at the scene. They only suggest I was somewhere within a broader area. Furthermore, the witness was provided with context, the information about the case before the analysis. Human nature dictates that we sometimes see what we expect to see. Could this prior knowledge, however, subtly have influenced their interpretation of their data? Did they consider alternative explanations for the timing of those calls? The witness's testimony relies heavily on the assumption that my phone was in my possession and used by me at that relevant time. But, Your Honor, they cannot definitively state that I was the one making those calls. There's a possibility, however remote, that someone else could have been using my phone. I am not here to deny the existence of the call logs or the CCTV footage. I am here to highlight the potential for errors, the inherent limitations of the technology, and the possibility of misinterpretations. I urge you to consider the totality of the evidence, not just the seemingly precise data from the telecommunications company. Consider the possibility of reasonable doubt. Consider the potential for human error and the fallibility of technology. Consider the possibility that I'm being wrongly accused. I'm innocent. I implore you to see through the surface of the data and to recognize the uncertainties that exist. I ask you to consider all evidence presented with an open mind and to render a verdict based on the truth, not on assumptions. Thank you, Your Honor. And this was a clear speech coming from Simon, addressed to the presiding judge. And the judge now came in to make a statement. He had to quickly summarize every single thing he has witnessed in the courtroom today. And he also has to give his own stance about the testimonies coming from the witnesses and the responses coming from the defendant, who happens to be Simon. So the judge started by saying, members of the jury, we have now heard all the evidence presented in this case. We have listened to the testimony of the witnesses, examined exhibits, and considered the arguments of both the prosecution and the defense. As the presiding judge, it is my duty to provide you with my observations and guidance as you begin your deliberations. First, let me remind you of the fundamental principles that underpins our entire legal system. The presumption of innocence. The defendant, Simon, is presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. The burden of proof rests entirely on the prosecution. They must convince you, the jury, of Simon's guilt. You have heard a great deal of technology evidence, particularly concerning the CCTV footage and the telecommunications data. It is your responsibility to carefully weigh this evidence, consider the methods used to gather and analyze this data, consider the witnesses' qualification and their potential biases. Did the evidence presented by the prosecution establish a clear and irrefutable connection between the defendant and the events in question? The defense has raised questions about the accuracy of the data, the possibility of alternative interpretations, and the potential for reasonable doubt. It is your duty to consider this argument as well. Did the defense present any evidence that casts doubt on the prosecution's case? Does the evidence taken as a whole leave you with any reasonable doubts about Simon's guilt? Remember, reasonable doubt is not a mere possibility or speculations. It is a doubt based on reason and common sense. A doubt that would cause a reasonable person to hesitate before acting in a matter of importance. If after considering all the evidence you have any reasonable doubt about Simon's guilt, you must find him not guilty. The prosecution has presented a case built on various pieces of evidence, including witness testimonies and the CCTV footage and the telecommunications data. However, it is important to consider the context of each piece of evidence and how they relate to one another. You must assess the credibility of each witness, consider their demeanor, their consistency, and their potential motivations. Does their testimony ring true? Does it align with other evidence presented? You must not allow sympathy, prejudice, or personal feelings to influence your decisions. Your verdict must be based solely on the evidence presented in this courtroom and the law as I have instructed you. Your task is not an easy one. It requires careful consideration, critical thinking, and a commitment to justice. But I have full confidence in your ability to fulfill this important civic duty. Now, you will retire to your jury room to begin your deliberations. Take your time, discuss the evidence thoroughly, and arrived at a verdict that is just very clear. And this statement was addressed to both the prosecuting legal counsel team, the defense team, and the individuals watching the whole act in courtroom session today. And this is a very, very powerful word coming from the presiding judge. He did not come with any form of bias. He did not come to support anybody. He came to just state the fact and tell the witnesses to see, you shouldn't be influenced by your lawyers. Come here and testify based on what you've seen, and not just coming up here to testify based on what you've instructed or prepped to do. Well, this whole conversation went on for a while, and the presiding judge asked for a short break. He asked everyone to go for a quick recess. Yes. So in the process, Simon met with his legal counsel team, having a series of conversations. The prosecuting lawyers with the witnesses were having their own conversation in the different stands. And after 30 minutes, the presiding judge came in to adjourn the whole court hearing for the next date. Yes, and at this point in time, he said the prosecuting lawyers brought in a lot of witnesses ranging to more than 9 or 10, and is asking the defense and the defendant's lawyer to come up with witnesses in the next court hearing. He wants them to bring in witnesses and testifiers to back up the defendant and the defense legal counsel team. So tomorrow probably is going to be a very, very interesting one, because Simon, for the second time, is going to bring a witness. He has prepared a series of witnesses that will testify in his favor, and we can't wait to see the next person that will come up in the stand and make statements to back up Simon. Well, in our previous video, we showcased the fact that Mr. Simon, for the second time running, has performed wonderfully in the courtroom. Yes, yesterday in the court session Simon effortlessly carried his case on his shoulders without the assistance coming from his lawyer. Yes, this guy effortlessly cross-examined a series of witnesses and pointing out their errors, pointing out their mistakes, and pointing out things that doesn't make sense. Yesterday in the courtroom, a police officer from Nigeria appeared to testify against Simon, and Simon cross-examined this police officer from Nigeria, and probably he noticed that this guy is not holding official documentations from the Nigerian police force.